What would you consider to be controlling behaviour?
I suppose for me, one of the first things that I think of is, if you love me and then they follow that up with some sort of request that you sort of may or may not be comfortable with. It could be maybe, the partner doesn't want to go home from the club or whatever, and then they get forced into that situation. Or it could be something even more serious, like sexual pressure, because then it puts an expectation on the other person to step up to the mark and do something that they might not be comfortable doing. There's no point where you're not gonna stop and sort of look back and think, hey, is this bad? Because you're in that relationship and you want it to be great, and people are always asking.
Have you ever done anything in a relationship that was controlling?
As far as myself, I think that definitely I've done manipulative things. I think one thing that I do, which I'm aware of now, is when I make a mistake or mess something up, and it can be on a low scale or a large scale, I can, put that onto other things and deflect onto other people, or become instantly defensive. It's like an instinct to try and, I suppose, put the onus on someone or something else. And where that can become really manipulative is I can put it on another person, maybe the person who's accusing me of having done something wrong, and I can make it their problem. And I can say things like, "Oh, well, if you didn't do this, then I wouldn't have done that. So this is actually your fault."
Now that you've had a bit of time to, I guess, reflect on these behaviours, have you noticed any change in yourself since then?
Looking back and self-reflecting, and I've only been doing that recently, and sort of understanding why I would do that. And I suppose the conclusion I came to is that I'm just really bad at apologizing to people. I don't know why. I haven't discovered that yet, but discovering that meant that I could, instead of put my focus on defending myself, I could put a focus on trying to figure out what was done wrong and what the mistake was, and then understanding that the hardest part for me is actually to come through and say, those sort of dreaded words, "I'm sorry," rather than saying things like, "Oh, but I've had a long day," or "Oh, but," coming up with anything else but an apology. So I suppose that's my growth from that point.